Welcome to Synced on Air. I'm one of your hosts, Angelique Robb, and I have Mike Watts as a co-host as well. You want to say hi?
How are you?
And today we have James Lawrence from Lawrence Landscape Group out of North Carolina with us. Welcome, James.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. We're happy to have you and get your story out about how you got in the business and all the great things that you're doing over there. So why don't you kick it off and tell us a little bit about how you got started and, what's been your story?
Yeah, I'll give you some background and then we'll go from there. So I grew up in the industry. My father owned a commercial landscape company and sold about 7 to 8 years ago. But I really fell in love with the industry at 14 working on the local golf course. I didn't work for my father until I was probably 18, 19 years old. So I spent my whole childhood really working on the golf course. And that's where I fell in love with the industry. Straight out of high school, went to NC State for the horticulture and ag business program. Incredible program ran by Lee Ivy up there. He has really changed my career, I feel like.
Awesome.
And then, my dad sold the company while I was in school, and I had seen people that I grew up calling my uncle. Like some of these people I literally thought were my family because I'd known them my whole life. Later to find out they really weren't my uncle.
They weren't related.
Yeah. But I watched these people that, were so close. It was such a close company. They did incredible work. I mean, you could ride by a property and just tell that it was them who did it. When they sold and went corporate, a lot of that started to change, and a lot of those people were leaving. People weren't happy. Not only that, but the properties didn't look the same. I was driving down properties that looked so pristine growing up, and like there wasn't even stripes in the grass. There were weeds in the grass, and it just drove me insane because I mean that was like family to me. I'd planned in college to get out and go work for another landscape company or that company, take a few years, and then eventually I always had in mind I wanted to start my own thing, but I didn't think it would be so soon. And seeing that kind of change just drove me. As soon as I got out of school, started Lawrence Landscape Group, took a lot of those people from that company that were no longer happy and started the business, and we've been growing so fast ever since. I can't believe I just got a notification on LinkedIn. It's been 5 years now since we started the company, and it feels like 1 year.
Wow.
Congrats.
That's awesome.
Fast journey.
So you're pretty young then. How old are you? Sorry, I don't, maybe I don't want to point it out, but it's great. It's a kudos to you.
Just turned 25.
Wow. That is amazing. And you've grown your business to, I don't want to say the number, but I don't remember exactly, but how big can you describe it?
Say 70 to 80 employees in the peak season.
And did you always start with, because you're mostly commercial maintenance, is that right?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I was just picking up work left and right, whatever I could. And then over the years, we've gotten completely out of residential, all commercial maintenance.
Okay. So maybe you started with a bit of anything like most companies do. It only makes sense to do that.
We were doing anything and everything at the beginning.
But then maybe how long did it take you to go, okay, I'm going to niche this? What is our niche? A year or two or?
Yeah, probably a year. After that first year, we started to gain some credibility. There were a couple commercial accounts that really helped us kind of prove ourselves. And then that was always the main focus. Then we were able to start building up those bigger contracts, starting to filter out some of the work we didn't want. We're very strategic about the type of work we pick up and who we work with. We want people that we're definitely not the cheapest company in the Charlotte market, but the people that do work with us really value our work.
Well,
So we're pretty strategic about who we go after.
and so in that way that do you know already what companies value quality work, or how do you be, how are you strategic, if you don't mind
Yeah, so
elaborating?
we're filtering our prospects. So, people who aren't going to go after the lowest bidder, people who clearly want to invest in enhancements throughout the year, coming up with a year plan, a 5-year plan for design work. People who are really interested in value the actual landscape versus just someone who's going to get in and keep it clean. We want to develop a true partnership, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, this is great. I mean, and so I mean, you talk like you're so much more experienced than your age, not in a bad way. I think it's brilliant. I think that, we all need to think like that. We all need to be maybe more strategic in our businesses. Did you learn any of this from discussions with your dad? Or, I mean, but you never worked with him, or is this something that you mentioned, somebody at NC State? How did you come
Yeah.
into
So,
this?
I've been blessed with some incredible mentors. My father, first and foremost, he's been an incredible impact on my career. Let's see, Bruce Wilson, the Wilson Company.
Okay.
He was huge impact in the beginning. Let's see, NC State was incredible. Lee Ivy up there, some incredible professors. Brian Jackson. Let's see. There's too many to name.
That's awesome.
NC State's
Yeah.
ag program is absolutely incredible. They really set you up for success.
I think it also says a lot about you too, though, because you have to be open to learning from others
Yeah.
to
So
filter out and build your strategy. I mean, not many people are being strategic from year 1 or 2.
yeah. So always, one of our core values is continuous improvement, and I stay in a Vistage group. So it's a group of different business owners from all different industries. We're meeting every single month. So always trying to push the envelope, learn from each other, figure out what we can do better. I've been a part of the Wilson 360 peer groups in the past.
Yeah.
Just being part of a network and never stop learning.
That's great. Does your father have any involvement with you currently, or is he kind of is he
No,
retired or?
Yeah, he's on the farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not
He
retired, is it? That's a lot of work too.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Well, James, another thing that you mentioned when we were getting to know each other last week or so was the people in your organization. And, do you want to tell us what you look for when you're hiring or in your people that makes a good fit for growing? Fast growing businesses are hard too, because you may hire people that aren't a good fit sometimes just because you're growing fast. How did you approach that?
Well, we were talking the other day, and it's 100% about people for sure. Getting from 0 to 1 to 2 million is easy, but getting to 3 million to 5 million to 10 million is 100% about the people you have on your team. What we look for when we're hiring, we want to know what people's 3-year goal is, their 5-year goal. We want people who are passionate about growth, passionate about the industry, who are eager to learn, because we invest a lot into ongoing training for all of our managers. We're always trying to grow within. That's another one of our core values is empowerment. So we got some pretty intensive roadmaps and training programs built out for all of our managers. Right out of the gate, if someone walks in the door, we're looking for someone who's ambitious, doesn't just want to get a paycheck, someone who really cares about landscaping, cares about the art form, knows that it's a true profession, and they want to grow, because we're a growing company. We need people who are excited and eager and optimistic, part of our team. And I think we've done an incredible job, but we've been truly blessed with the people we have on our team right now.
I think it's super important to have transparency around growth plan. It's really an easy thing for a company to not focus on. But to your point, that's the main motivator for growth and as a whole company, not just the individual.
Definitely, yeah. If ever, we're huge on open book policy. We're reviewing the financials. Everybody has 4 or 5 KPIs. We're reporting on them on a weekly basis. So people understand that when they work hard, they do great work, they follow these KPIs, and we reach our goals, it's going to pay off for everybody. I mean, the things we're able to do for our families is life changing, really, when you think about it. If we can, and having that open book policy and everybody owning KPIs and understanding the actual business side of it really helps drive the company.
You say you focus a lot on training, and do you have apprenticeship programs and things like that? Or
yeah, we're getting involved with NC State right now, trying to recruit. We haven't started that yet, but we're in discussion with them. Past couple of years, it's really just been going to the high schools and networking with our employees' friends, figuring out who's interested, who's not going to college, because it's really an industry that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
Especially
yeah.
people don't know that you can make a really good living in our industry. So we're really trying to get involved with the high schools, the colleges, because it's honestly dying. I mean, a lot of these Hort programs, ag institutes, they're getting less and less people every year, and it's devastating to see, because you can go to college for 2 years, you can not go to college at all, and still make a really good career in our industry.
Do you think that's more just the culture leaning towards tech becoming a bigger industry, or do you get any feedback in terms of that?
That's a good question. I don't know why that is. I'm sure it's hard work. It's definitely not, work for the weak whatsoever. As my dad would say, it's a young man's sport, but yeah, it is hard work. I would say that's gotta be one of the ways. But, like you said, you started in the field and worked your way up. Once you earn your stripes, there's many opportunities in management that people can.
Well, I even heard that a lot of, like technical colleges that taught hardscaping and stuff like that have closed. When I first moved here and started talking to people in the industry, that there was a lot of worry, and that was 4 or 5 years ago, that all these colleges had dropped programs. I also think the trend since COVID has been less enrollment for universities on the whole. So we have our, less maybe people going into our industry, but if you have less people going to universities on the whole, then it starts to, filter through to each college. But I do wonder that it was a good point, Mike, about technology, because I do think that, there's some things that you don't need. You can learn a lot on your phone and through YouTube and through different ways, but there's still a lot of lack of education of better practices in our industry. Would you agree with that, James? Or, I mean, I know you've had good training, but do you think overall?
I mean, I think it's somewhat becoming like a lost art. There's really an art to horticulture and professional landscaping, and I feel like you really don't see that like you did even 15, 20 years ago. It's really not. It's kind of a lost art, a race for the bottom line. Yeah, that's why I think it's incredible what you guys are doing, really advocating for the industry, the younger generation, because it really is. It's an art form, it's a profession, and with all these corporate takeovers, it's becoming more and more lost. Everybody's selling the private equity. Everybody's going corporate. So they're just pushing bottom line. There really is a place for people who care about the art form and the profession.
And the science of it too. That was personally something that motivated me. Like, I'm a big science nerd, and the more I learned about the botany of it all and how to apply that, it just got me more interested. And I think spreading that kind of awareness is so beneficial. as a whole.
Well, and it's changing. I mean, we've already seen, was it in 2024 that the USDA hardiness zones are changing? You know, we're getting wetter in certain areas. We're having the fires, all these things. Our industry, unlike, like let's say interior design, exterior design for us, and what you talked about, enhancements and always, looking to improve the landscape, means that we're dealing with the living things and outside forces like weather, rain, floods, fires. We can't sit back and do things always the way we did them before, because things are we're seeing things change before our eyes. So I think that's another reason why we can't just do things the way we used to 20 years ago. But B, the outside situation has changed. Private equity, is changing the game too. But I think, there's always pros and cons on these things, huh? Just like what you said, like you saw the deterioration in properties and the care that opened up, space for you to thrive, to do things better. So,
For sure.
I think, we're always adapting. People who are always adapting will always win, I think, because
Definitely.
of that.
Yeah, just to add to that, speaking of adapting, are there any technologies like deep lawn or anything like that you've implemented or that you've been eyeing to use? Or
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty intensive tech stack. I was looking at it the other day, trying to figure out how to thin it out because we're spending so much money on all these different technologies, but we use them all. I mean, we're using, our biggest one's Aspire. We're big on Aspire. We've been using that for probably 3 years, but, we use so many different apps, whether it's, I'll name a few: Company Cam, Site Recon, Go Ilon. Well, that's changing the property intel through Aspire. So, that's another thing that's always changing and staying up to date with the technologies.
And how do you find out about them? Like through trade shows or just?
Yeah, we do the technology conference that, I forget who puts that one on, but we do the
Lawn and Landscape.
Yeah, we do that one every year. We take few managers out there every year. That's been a huge help. But just being a part of those peer groups too. Vistage has been big for me because I'm able to learn what other industries are using.
That's huge. And what specifically have you learned? I mean, I think that's something that not many people in the industry that I've talked to, promote looking at other industries. So do you have any examples of what has been kind of an eye-opener?
You put me on the spot.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. It's really just a totally different way of thinking. I feel like the landscape industry has kind of been 5-10 years behind a lot of other industries in the way we think and look at technology. So, I can't name anything really off the top of my head, but
that's okay. I mean, what you've said already.
Totally different way of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. And opens your eyes to different ways of working. Well, and I think that's something that you don't get a chance to do. It takes a lot more effort to look outside of your own industry, and also not just listen to other industries, but also go, wow, yeah, they're doing a similar methodology, but with a different tool, or they're using the same tool and doing it a whole different way. I mean, that takes a lot of effort on your part. So I would say that, again, that's kudos to you that you're looking outside of the industry, because it's easy to not make those efforts. So, and I guess Charlotte is a pretty big market too. What do you say about, competition and stuff like that? Do you know a lot of your competitors, or do you network with people in the industry in your region, or do you just curious, really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody knows everybody in our industry. I mean, I can call up probably all of our top 5 competitors right now. I know them all pretty well. We all talk to each other.
Oh, that's
But
good.
for anybody who's really wanting to get into the industry in these major cities, I feel like there's a big opportunity for private smaller companies, because there's really maybe 2 or 3 companies that can handle these large scale maintenance contracts that aren't private equity or large corporate companies. So people that are able to deliver that true personal touch and care and feel, there's a real opportunity for it. It's really missing in our market right now. I mean, that's been one of our biggest reasons for the fast growth we've had.
Are you
And
a
what
100% commercial, or is there
Yeah.
a 100%?
and so what's your plans like? What do you see your growth like over the next few years?
Yeah. So going back to some of the people that have really helped us out, we just spent the year with what was their name? The Green Dot System, Ken Thomas and Stephen Bruce. They just spent the year, which is really all it really is EOS really built for the landscape industry. So we've spent the past year putting that in place. We feel like we have a really solid framework. We kind of slowed down on sales over the past year while we put that in place, just because,
Okay.
we were growing so fast over the past 4 years that we wanted to slow it down a bit, really build a solid framework so we could scale again. Just finished a year of implementing that EOS system from Ken Thomas and Stephen Bruce, and everybody is really excited for the growth. We got business developers, so we just want to take over Charlotte and be on the biggest and best properties in Charlotte, which we are on a lot of them, and then start looking at outside markets, whether that's Greenville, Charleston, kind of the southeast, but we're focused on Charlotte right now.
Yeah.
You do snow removal too?
We do. Finally got a snow in Charlotte for the first time in 4
There
years.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was your first time doing it?
No, I did it some for my dad's old company, and then 5 years ago, I think we had like 1 or 2 events, but we've been getting ice melt every single year, just anticipating an event. So we've been sitting on all these pallets of ice melt, and it just accumulates year after year, and we finally got to put them down in January.
Well, Mike, you even had snow out on the Outer Banks, didn't you?
Yep, I did. And oh my gosh, people here have no idea how to handle that whatsoever. It was like school shut down for 3 days before the snow even came. So,
and it looked like
yeah, it's pretty wild.
How much was it? It was a little bit it was a bit more than a dusting, but
yeah, it was. I think my town, Killable Hills, got about 8 inches, is what they said. But it was so windy that there were some areas that were just completely void of snow, and then there was like a foot of snow in another. So it was kind of hard to tell.
Well, so you've already given a lot of great advice through this call, but I guess do you have something that you haven't said yet, or if people are looking to start their own businesses, or really, I love the fact that you're focusing on quality, and then commercial maintenance is kind of known for the race to the bottom or small margins, and you're bucking that trend. So I think you probably have a lot of great advice of how to buck that trend and don't race to the bottom, give quality. Can you elaborate on what you'd tell the industry?
I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are landscaping these days. You always see Chuck in a truck, as we call them. There's hundreds of those guys, but that's all a race to the bottom. I mean, if you focus on doing really good work, the money will follow, the customers will follow. There's people that are willing to pay an extra $1 to work with someone who knows what they're doing and really cares about what they're doing. And 2, I just really want to build awareness around our industry and the possible careers in our industry. It's really exciting to get young people involved in the industry. especially after seeing the declining numbers in the ag institutes. And yeah, anybody who's listening, we'd love to work with you or help you any way possible. Just reach out to us. Yeah, it's a really fun, rewarding career.
What sort of marketing initiatives do you have, or is it primarily word of mouth, or how do you handle that?
I mean, we have business developers, so they're going out, meeting with property managers. But I would say probably 80 to 90% of our work that we've picked up has really just been off of referral. We haven't had a business developer until really this year.
That's great.
Well, and do you want to tell us your website, contact details so people can reach out and find out more?
LawrenceLandscapeGroup.com. My email is james@LawrenceLandscapeGroup.com. We're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you name it.
Well, I love what you're doing, love the philosophy, love the quality approach. We need more business owners taking that lead like you're doing. So thank you for doing that, and look forward to having you on the under 30 panel at our next Sync Live. So
that'd be awesome. There, I think that's such an incredible thing you guys are doing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We need to let the younger generation know there's a real career path here in our industry. I think that's incredible. So kudos to y'all for setting that up.
Well, look forward to meeting you in person at the next one. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today. And look forward to meeting in person sometime soon.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, likewise, man.